Hello, Ravens fans, and welcome to another Spotlight Ravens series. I'm Aaron Schneider, the Sports Information Director at Anderson University, and joining us is our new Director of Sports Medicine, Nick Albertson. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Blessed to be here. Thank you.
All right. Well, first to kick things off, just tell us about like where you're from and kind of how you got into sports medicine.
So originally, I grew up on the south side of Indianapolis for the majority of my life, Greenwood, Indiana, to be specific.
Okay.
I was in high school and I saw the athletic trainer at a baseball game. I played baseball in high school, and then I thought he had a really cool job, and I never wanted to go to school to be a doctor.
All right.
So that was a big piece, and then I came here. It was a blessing. In 2010, I was a baseball player and athletic trainer.
Okay.
So I was rostered on the team for a couple of years before transitioning and going full time into athletic training.
All right, and then so obviously as you mentioned, you're an AU alumnus. You graduated in 2014, but for from the student perspective, what was your what was the seller for you to come to AU?
It was a cool environment. I was here in a transitional period between some coaches, and was in a recruiting place with that. And when I came in, I got to meet one of my biggest mentors, Steve Reisinger, who was here for a very, very long time. Did a really good job with the program, and that was meeting with the baseball coaching staff and Doc at the time. Those were big components. And you come on campus, it's tough not to feel like home here, especially when you're walking around campus in the valley. And it's just there's a peace and a calmness, I think, about being in Anderson that not a lot of institutions have, I think.
All right, so you graduated from 2014. You've been in the sports medicine field. You're pretty much since you've graduated.
Correct.
Kind of walk us through your experience, and then we'll eventually circle our way back to your return to Anderson.
Yeah. So when I graduated here, it was cool. I got to go into another conference school. I was at Defiance. I did my grad work there, working with the athletics department there. Kevin Tong was awesome. Head athletic trainer. Kathleen Westfall, they were great. Really helped mentor my just understanding of being a young athletic trainer in the profession. From there, I did an internship at Butler for 10 months, just trying to get some Division I experience. I worked with the softball team primarily. Got to see what that Division I travel was like and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I spent 3.5 years down in Memphis, Tennessee at Rhodes College. In my time there, was just blessed as a practitioner to learn from some really, really good sports medicine and just overall health and wellness individuals. And then from there, finished up the last two places I was at Hanover College for 18 months before transitioning into the industrial setting, where I was there for 6-7 months at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And then coming all the way back to here, where yesterday, this week, back at Anderson.
All right, now tell us about the kind of the process. I know that this would be like your first. This would be your first.
Yeah.
This is your first director role.
Correct.
This is and then returning to your alma mater. I know those are two big selling points. What are so tell us about like your process, your return back, and kind of what made you want to come back.
It's funny because you talk to almost every alum that have come back at one point, and I think it's a similar answer. Is that this place, the experiences I had here were that good, to be able to remember those in such a positive light that as an adult, 13 years after stepping on campus the first time, it's very different now. I truly think that Anderson University is a very unique place. This is where I was saved in my faith, and this is where I have the ability to be able to grow in my faith alongside of so many others. And for me, that's a big selling point. And especially coming back from the industrial setting, that's a big piece for me. And this is think Anderson does a great job of selling itself facilities-wise. Blessed to have the athletic, sports med center downstairs that we have at the size that it is. But really, it was the people, right? I think it's always the people. And for me, that was the most important piece. It was coming back to a place that felt like home, where I thought we could do some really cool medicine and some really cool things on some, and aid and assist with athletic programs that are having success and keep going forward. It made a lot of sense to me.
Okay. All right. So now going into the next segment of questions. First, who is your biggest inspiration and why?
Biggest inspiration. So professionally, it's interesting because I've had so many awesome mentors, and each one of them were able to teach certain different things. So when it comes to it, but ultimately coming back to Anderson University, it's I would be remiss if I don't talk about Steve Reisinger and how pivotal he has been in my career, behind the scenes even. So professionally, I would go with that, and then personally, I would say my dad. I think my dad has been a great model. He's really shown me what it's like to grow through adversity and still be able to stay stoic, right? Not get reactionary when things get a little chaotic. So in a role like this, I believe that as a role model, that was a really good piece too. So that's kind of like the professional, personal piece of that, yeah.
Okay. Next question is, what is your driving force / motivation?
Self-autonomy and the betterment of the student athlete. The intent here is to practice in a way that we give the student athlete the ability to understand about their body and learn, but also be able to be there and enhance that experience. That's such a big passion for me. I truly believe that the relationships in my entire life and career have been what have made the places as good or bad as they've been, and I think that relationships are the most important. So when it comes to that, I really take that piece of the passion and driving factor of the sports medicine aspect of the betterment of the student athlete and the health and care of the student athlete, but also I've been growing up on sports fields since I was as small as could be, and I haven't really left. So those pieces all intertwined really create a cool motivation and passion, I think, for me.
All right. What would you say your favorite aspect about sports is and why?
I think that my favorite aspect about sports is it has the ability to teach adversity in moments that are both good and bad. And it could be personal or as a team. But I truly think that the coolest thing about sports and team is the ability to grow through so many different life things. And injuries are the same way, when we look at it, that there was just maybe an imbalance that now we get to look at and help. So I think those pieces really are cool when it comes to it.
Okay. What are your favorite hobbies?
Oh, my favorite hobbies. I really like board games and sports.
Mhm.
My wife and I, we've been playing a lot of board games for the last so many years.
You got any go-tos?
So we play, because it's just the two of us, we play a lot of a game called King Domino, which is just a little
Okay.
5x5 grid game, but a lot of Yahtzee. Just a lot of
Okay.
Yahtzee.
Yeah.
So,
It's a good family staple in ours.
yeah, that's a big fun game.
Mhm.
So, and it's always fun to just pull out the dice and play some Yahtzee. So those are really big ones. I used to play, I used to watch a lot more sports on TV and stuff like that, but have kind of shifted my priorities. One of my biggest hobbies is
Yeah.
playing with my 6-month-old son.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what a blessing. It's been the coolest part of my journey so far as an individual. And that's my number one hobby outside of work and sports and stuff here, But just family time. That comes first and foremost. We just like to spend it with board games and kind of get intentional with time.
What was fatherhood? What people told you it was going to be? Like it?
It's so much better.
Okay.
Oh, it's so much better. It's the coolest thing. And it may be experiential too, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
We're blessed. We have a baby that slept all
Mhm.
night since he was 3 months old. He may not sleep well during the day, but he's been sleeping 10 to 12 hours a night for 3.5 months. So sleep-wise, that always played a factor. But man,
Mhm.
he's starting to scoot, and he's pretty close to crawling, and he's rolling around. It's the coolest. He learns something new every day. And it really is like the most fun thing, you know. So I think it's way better than anybody could have ever imagined for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. What is a little known but amazing fact about yourself?
Little known but an amazing fact. It's a good question. When it comes to, I've been learning Portuguese for the last
Oh,
like 700
okay.
days. I haven't missed a day on Duolingo
Okay.
since almost 2 years. I haven't missed a single day learning Portuguese, just like one lesson a day. So I don't know how interesting, right, or extravagant that gets, but it's getting better. It's getting better.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the next we talked a little bit about your it was going to be compete in sports. So you mentioned baseball. Obviously, was anything else, or is it just was it just baseball?
When it comes to the sports coming in,
Yeah, or sports that you competed in.
oh, so growing up, I played a lot of sports up until college or until high school. I grew up playing football. I never really played basketball, but it was basically football, baseball as a child, young adult or youth athlete up until high school, and then I just kind of focused only on baseball. And then when I got here, it was difficult for me to manage both, so I had to make a challenging decision.
Yeah.
And that was where we took. I went into full time into that athletic training student role, and then
Right.
was around. So it was a little different in transition when it got to college, but yeah, growing up, and now I've learned. We play catch. My buddy and I play catch with lacrosse sticks. My wife and I go play catch, softball, baseball all the time, kicking a soccer ball around. So been blessed. I've worked a multitude of many sports, so it's been really good.
And then obviously you and I are in a similar position. Where we cover a little bit of everything with our sports, and obviously in our alliance lies there obviously.
Yeah.
But as far as outside AU athletics, what would you say like your favorite sports are?
So I grew up a Chicago fan of all professional sports for the most part. I would just kind of just trickled down. My dad grew up in the northwest Indiana. That was what they got. So as we grew up, that was what we watched. So primarily, Chicago sports in the professional side, and then I grew up a huge Notre Dame football fan. So it's been harder as you get older, and in sports, just kind of like you were saying.
Yeah.
It is a little more difficult to sit there and be a fan.
Yeah,
But when
for
you get
sure.
that minute, it's nice, right? It's kind of cool to catch the game with a team you like.
Yeah, I certainly have to. I have to log that in the back of my mind if I'm going to actually follow sports. Like I'm big into like college football and things like that. But I have to actually I have to register that in advance. Otherwise the Saturday's just going to get away from me. It's like, oh darn, all these games happened.
Yeah, I completely understand. You wake up and you're in November. Yeah.
Right. And that I'm a big baseball fan too. Where do you stand? Where do you stand? Cubs, White Sox.
I grew up a White Sox fan.
Okay.
So my whole childhood, it was always the White Sox. My dad. Now I think outside of the crosstown rivalry, right? Rooting for the city of the team that you like is always good, right? But if it came down to it, I would definitely pick the White Sox.
Yeah, and so actually, I'm a native of Bloomington, Illinois.
Okay.
So that's that was my first baseball game was going to Comiskey.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. That's really cool. That's a funny experience, especially for your first game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a shame. No longer there.
Yeah. Going on to the next part of questions, a little bit more rapid fire. What is your favorite season?
Fall.
Okay. All right. Okay. I guess we kind of dove into the sports teams, the Chicago.
Right.
Do you have any pets? If so, what kind and what are their names?
So we have one dog. His name is Patches. He is a pit lab mix. It's kind of funny. I rescued him when I was living in Memphis, Tennessee, and after we had rescued him, we came home for a winter, and I found out my grandfather's plane that he flew in World War II was also named Patches.
Oh, cool.
So that was a kind of a cool experience with that. But yeah, we have a pit lab mix named Patches. He's awesome. he'll be around.
All right. Let's see. Who is your celebrity crush?
Growing up, it was always Jessica Biel in the movie. I watched Summer Catch, I think,
Okay.
once a week from the time I was like 10 years old until 18 years old. It was a great movie. I always just was infatuated with the game of baseball on Cape Cod was always a piece for me, so that was probably, that's what
There you go. What is your favorite TV show?
Longmire. We got right at the tail end, and as my son was getting born, we just binged Longmire, and it was a pretty good show. It was
There
one
you
that
go.
we liked a lot. So that was a good
Okay.
one.
What's it about? Since I'm not
He's
familiar.
he's a sheriff in a small town out in the middle of nowhere, and he's got like a 2-3 person staff, and just it used to be a book series that they just kind of expanded upon. But yeah, it just solving mysteries and crimes and things that are happening in a small town, kind of rural area. Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite condiment?
I think I use ranch on too many things, so I'll have to go with that. Yeah.
Okay. What is your lucky number?
8.
Okay.
Yeah, 8.
All right. When you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
I just always thought it was cool. Like teaching was a cool profession.
Okay.
Before it transitioned into that sports medicine. But yeah,
Yeah.
up until I decided to come to Anderson to be an athletic trainer, I was going to be a teacher.
All right. Okay. And then what is your go-to karaoke song?
It would have to be, I don't know. I like, it's just Piano Man is awesome. I think it's
Okay.
the most fun
All right.
karaoke song. Right? Everybody loves it, and you can get the crowd, everybody around
Yeah.
singing
Mhm.
and having a blast. That helps to cover up my voice, right? If you get more
Yeah.
people singing,
Yep.
not as many people have to hear me.
That's definitely
That's
necessary.
not my talents, skill acquisition. So singing isn't high up on that list.
Huh, that's a good one. What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
I would have to go with just a good cookie dough.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
the go-to easy one for us. It's always been my favorite ice cream, actually. Yeah, cookie dough.
Okay, and then going into the final part of questions, kind
Yeah.
of kind of go a little bit heavier to wrap things up.
Yeah.
So as you come into your role, director of sports medicine, what are you hoping to bring to this sports medicine department?
I think a good energy and
Okay.
a great model. So I think that we have the ability to do some really cool things here, sports medicine wise, and provide good medicine. And having been in the places that I've been in, getting to learn from a lot of those mentors in those different spots, I think that gives us a cool ability up here to do some things. So I'm hoping to bring in some new injury reduction things, some new rehab plans, some different treatments and protocols as we get throughout, and finding some new ways to learn some new skills and make it a fun environment. Like, I truly believe that when everything is in cohesion and everybody's working together in a really good way, that's attitude, energy, all of it, it produces a better result. So we just want to aid in that and to make sure that student athletes are safe and as healthy as possible. And I think with good people, and we have a really good staff in the sports medicine staff, and with that, I think it comes in and you're able to provide a cool experience for the student athlete. And it's a little different. I came in, this is the first job I've ever worked that I was coming into where I'd known people in the place.
Okay.
So Anderson, I've worked with some of the coaches while I was a student. I've seen a lot of the coaches while I was an athletic trainer, whether at Defiance or Hanover. So having that cohesion between everything, that's really what I would like to be able to add into that coaching staff piece.
Okay, and then finally, so we're kind of we kind of have a different situation with coaches where we don't have a win-loss record to our name. As far as what you hope the department, as far as what the department will become, what do you hope it'll become, and it'll be something that you can you can, it's something that you can look and say, I'm proud that I oversee this.
Yeah. You know, I think good people, right? I think it starts there. You know, I had a mentor that once told me that hire good people, you can teach skills.
Mhm.
And I thought that stuck with me for a long time.
Okay.
And I think when it
I like
comes to
that.
that it's good people will take care of people, right?
Mhm.
And in a role where ours, like you said, there is no win-loss record. How do you evaluate quality versus of your department in that sense? I think that the first way
And to add to that, you're
Yeah.
like you're like all of our positions are somewhat service based, but yours
Yeah.
is especially.
Yeah, and you're right. Every position in athletics is service-based. It has to be, right?
Mhm.
The only way to be able to succeed, I believe, is with that servant leadership.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that is something that might be unique about sports medicine.
Mhm.
But I still see it as if we're working as a collaboration, and good people and, like you said, servant leadership are in front of mind.
Mhm.
Cool. Those are big, important pieces. And then from there, I think that it comes down to what's our, you know, are we practicing good medicine? Are we making sure that the health and safety of all of the student athletes is at our forefront of our mind and able to get them healthy or work with them for them to be healthy at, you know, rates that are as quick and safe, right, as they can
Mhm.
be, right? We're not willing to challenge safety for
Right.
just speed. So, and making sure that we can meet both and where
Mhm.
we do that. And I think we do that with good people first and then learning some cool skills and progression. I was blessed to work in Memphis with, his name is Drew Gibson, who's one of my biggest mentors clinically. And he was able to put, and show me paths and ways to stay progressive and to always look for something better. We should always be evolving, and that's why I think skills ultimately, right, can be learned. You just can't, I don't know if you can learn the good people part as well.
Okay. Well, I think I've covered the questions I wanted to. Ravens fans, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow along with any more Spotlight Ravens series, any more content we may put out on YouTube. Nick, thank you for joining us. Welcome back to AU, and good luck with your year this year.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Aaron. We're excited and blessed to be